Alright, so today I got another request, and this time I'm going to be redesigning arguably one of the worst designed Mortal Kombat characters in history. So let's see if I can do better than this. I surely hope so. Alright, so I've touched on it in my Hataru redesign video that I did about a month ago. I think it's been a month. That the Havik that we see in the story mode of Mortal Kombat 11, at least not counting Titan Havik at the end, that is actually Dairou from Mortal Kombat Deception Armageddon. Why NetherRealm made this change, I have no idea, especially considering that this new Havik seems nothing like Dairou for the record, but that's what they've done. I got asked to do a redesign of Dairou, and I'm almost positive that it's because he's so unlike the original character. I believe part of the request was to actually do a redesign of Dairou that's closer to the original character and not this weird Havik that they made up for Mortal Kombat 1. So that's the challenge that I'm taking on today. I've given my thoughts on this man before. Most recently, outside of the Hataru video, was also the critique of all the Mortal Kombat Deception Player 1 and Player 2 costumes, of which I think Dairou has two of the worst designs in Mortal Kombat history. Like their Boraicho Suhao levels of bad. I don't even think those are as bad as Dairou. He just looks so super generic. So my job today is to make him less generic. So let's see if I can.
Not instructed, paid. Mercenaries do not work for free.
Alright, so starting off, I know the original request that I got for this design wanted me to sort of work on giving him an MK1 design, as if he wasn't Havik, like he was his own original character. I just thought about how could I take the current Havik character and just make it less Havik and more Dairou. So I used the actual Havik pose from Mortal Kombat 1, at least a piece of the Havik pose from Mortal Kombat 1 to start off with drawing Dairou, and then sort of moved along from there. I saw a sort of half head shaven Dairou online, and then I thought against it. I think part of the reason why his original design is so bad is because his hairline is ridiculous in the old games, and then they gave him the dumb hairstyle for Havik that they did in Mortal Kombat 1, so he's just never fared well with hair. So I gave him this weird hairstyle that's similar to what Havik has. Like I said, I used instances of the Havik in MK1 and just made it more Dairou-like. So I gave the long sort of weird hairstyle, only that while it's hanging off of one side, I sort of balanced it some so it doesn't look as less like a soccer mom or whatever hairstyle he has for Mortal Kombat 1. That weird, I don't know what it is. I feel like that alone, just a different hairstyle, probably would have solved a lot of old school Dairou's problems visually, but never mind that. Just going along from there, I gave him a lot of the spikes and sort of sharp objects on his clothes that Havik has. I just feel like somebody that left the Order Realm and was working for the Chaos Realm, he would still have weird pieces of clothing and stuff like that on his gear, but I still wanted to give him a lot of, or at least like a shield or armor pieces on his shoulders and chest, like the old school Dairou, but not exactly the same. Because the Havik in Mortal Kombat 1 has a lot of wraps and sort of like metal padding and stuff on him randomly, I added more of that onto Dairou's armor just to, I don't know, make it look a little bit more unique and interesting, but like I said, staying sort of true to the character. Because Dairou had a lot of armor in Mortal Kombat Deception, but it sort of was so much that it made him look bulky. I didn't want him to look that bad, but I did want something to be added to him nonetheless. And then I gave him certain stuff like the gemstone pieces for, I think it was his, I can't remember if it was his Player 1 or Player 2 outfit. It might have been his Player 2 one, but I added that to his belt and sash. And I gave him a weird centerpiece on his chest. I'm not even sure which design I saw that on. It might actually be Havik, not really sure. Then sort of just went from there. I also gave him the sort of tattoo or insignia that he has on his forehead. I gave that back to him. Once again, you can't really tell if that's a part of Dairou's design for Mortal Kombat 1 or not, because on Havik, Havik has either a headband or some type of helmet or something on him to where you can't see it in the first place, so there's no way to tell. Just the idea of him looking like a former guard of order that's now in the Chaos Realm, but I still wanted him to have that bounty hunter look and feel. Like I said in the previous video, Dairou was the bounty hunter of Mortal Kombat before Aaron Black ever existed, and they just completely dropped the ball with him. Not just because that was the extent of his backstory, but then it's like the way he looks turns so many people off to his character. So after getting the actual design finished off, it was on to starting the coloring phase. But before I get into that, this is the time in the video where I remind people to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and also reminding you that I have artwork and webcomics that you can purchase and read and look at my website, www.shadassassins.com. Back to the video. So starting the coloring, I almost gave him a bluish or purple like color scheme, sort of like Havik, just because I thought that would look cool for Dairou. And I flip-flopped quite a bit, like a good 2 or 3 times in doing this design. The reason why I eventually settled on using green instead of blue was because I was doing a redesign of original Dairou. I wanted to keep that color scheme the same. I don't know why for this specific design, because I'll take liberties and chances with other people's design and then I'll decide not to do it with others randomly. I don't know why I do that. I believe Hotaru was a similar deal where I kept him green for the same reason. But I wanted Dairou to be authentic in some aspects to the original look and feel of the character, just not as bland. And while I'm not entirely the biggest fan of the color scheme itself, I do like the design that I came up with for him. So the green color scheme didn't bother me as much. Now, the green didn't bother me until I finished doing the shadows for the design. Boy, did the shadows save this design for me. Also, I gave him so many intricate pieces. It took a lot longer to do the shadows here than it is for a typical design that I do. I gave a lot of intricate pieces to this man in this design. But I like the highlights that I did for the character as well. Like, this really wasn't bad. Once I finished the highlights after getting the shadows done and doing the specular highlights, it was pretty cool. Like, I was satisfied with what I came up with. And I had this brand new Mortal Kombat 1 Dairou. I'm definitely happy for being suggested this character design. This got me way out of my comfort zone, because this is a character I would not have ever suggested to draw on my own. I've stated it before, I'm not a fan of Dairou. Between him, Havik, Darius, and Hotaru, he's my least favorite character by a mile. But if he looked like this in, say, Mortal Kombat 1 or anything, I think I might have actually played with him. He looks a lot less generic now. So thanks for the suggestion. I'd love to know what you guys think about the actual design itself. Appreciate your feedback below, and you all have a good one, and I'm out.